Hello, today I'm going to be giving you advice on how to improve your PowerPoint presentations. So let's start off with the title page. The title page is the first thing that the audience will see, and therefore it must engage them and capture their attention immediately. Although this title page does the exact opposite. It is bland and boring, therefore does not capture any attention whatsoever. So let's look at how to improve it. Now this title page is a lot better. As you can see, I've aligned the title to the left. You should always align things to the left and in relation to each other. In addition, I've added my hook, which is Secrets to Perfect Presentation. My hook is then exaggerated by the confidential stamp on the background image. The background image is an eye-capturing image which will automatically engage the audience. Alright, the next thing to keep in mind is including an overview slide. You only need to include an overview slide if your presentation is over 10 minutes long. If that is so, then include one at the beginning of the presentation, at the start of each new section, and one final one at the end. An overview slide will let the audience know which sections have been completed and which sections are still to come. In addition, it will allow them to remember the sections again at the end of the presentation so that they forget less. The next thing to keep in mind is the background of the presentation. You should either use black on white like I'm doing now or white on black. These two options are really good because there is a lot of contrast between the two colors and therefore the presentation will be very visible and clear. Also, black on white is very easy to print. When making your presentation, use fonts such as Calibri, PT Sans, or PT Serif. Do not use more than 2 different font variations. In addition, use one of these 3 because they're readable and clear and simple. Using too artistic or stylized fonts will make your presentation unclear and look unprofessional. If 2 things in a presentation are different, then you have to make this obvious by creating contrast between the 2. A good way to do this is by changing at least 2 elements of one of those things. For example, here in this slide, the subtitle is separate from the examples below it. Therefore, I have changed the color of the subtitle to red and I have bolded the subtitle. This makes it really obvious that the subtitle is different and separate from the examples. Every slide you make in a presentation has to be at least 50% visual. This is because it engages the viewer a lot more. Now, when you attach an image, you can insert a caption underneath that image to explain what the picture is about. Although you can also cite that image. Citations, however, can also be included at the end of the presentation in the last slide. The formatting of your presentation slides is absolutely essential to a good presentation. A slide should never contain more than 50 words and should include only the key points in your presentation. You do not need to include all the things you're going to say in your slides. Stay concise and don't put any full sentences. In addition, increase the line spacing in order for people farther away to still be able to see and clearly read your presentation. Although people shouldn't be doing a lot of reading, instead they should be listening. People cannot actually listen and read at the same time due to how the brain functions. Therefore, ensure that they're listening instead of reading by minimizing the text on your presentation slides. One more thing, on this slide I have 6 bullet points, although I made it appear like I have less by making them appear as I say them, one by one. This is a good way to mask the fact that you might have quite a few bullet points on one slide and make it look less cluttered. On your slides, always use subtle and darker colors, such as the 4 I have here. Do not use too vibrant colors as these will be hard to see for the audience. In addition, never use more than 3 different colors in your presentation. If your presentation contains complex content and acronyms are required, then always define these acronyms before using them in order to ensure that everybody remains on the same page and understands your presentation. Visual aids can be really helpful to aid your discussion and presentation. For example, if you're discussing data or trends, then a graph is a great way to show this. After your discussion or explanation, always summarize the main points so that your audience can recap. If you do include a graph, then always explain the graph and label it so people understand it better. In addition, ensure that it is clear and visible to the audience so that they can see it even if they are farther away from it. The last thing to include in your presentation is a works cited slide. Here you have to reference all of your sources where you gathered your information or pictures from. In addition, I would just like to give you a few more tips on how to improve your PowerPoint. You have to remember to remain consistent with every single slide you do. You should never change colors or designs radically in a random manner. Although you can make certain slides different to the rest, although generally remain consistent throughout. One last thing to remember is that if you do include animations or transitions between your slides, then make them subdued and simple. Complex and complicated animations make your presentation or PowerPoint appear unprofessional and can be very distracting.